Hi, welcome to New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Christine Green. I'm so glad you chose to join us here today. If you are here for the first time, you have stepped into an inclusive, progressive, loving spiritual community. We honor all paths to the divine, all people, all walks of life. Everyone is welcome here. Not only are you welcome here, but we have mindfully and thoughtfully created a place just for you, just as you are. We're so glad that you're here. We have a wonderful service today. I'm going to share tools for how to live in a compassionate community. We have music by Elizabeth Harper, Brian Harris and the band. It's going to be a wonderful service. So please grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable and settle in, and enjoy our service. Welcome.
Thank you, Reverend Christine. And now I invite you to join me as we anchor our time together in prayer. With this next breath, simply allowing yourself to become fully present to the love that you are. How good it is to take a moment and turn our awareness to the truth of the infinite power, the one beneficial presence, the one all-encompassing love that is everywhere present. I know that this spirit of truth and grace and beauty and joy is right here, right where I am. The wholeness that is God, the peace that is spirit, the truth that is love everlasting. And in this place of peace and truth and oneness, I speak a word of gratitude for our time together, knowing that as community turns its attention to one thing, that thing is magnified. And so I invite each of us this day to turn our attention to love, to open ourselves to whatever it is that, whatever seeds of truth and grace and joy that are willing and ready to be planted in us this day by this video, to become fertile ground for a new way of being, a way of walking and moving in the world that helps to create a world that works for everyone. I am so grateful for this activity of spirit this day, spirit as spiritual community, love as us. And so in this love and with gratitude, we let it be. Blessed be. And so it is. And so this is our time for meditation. And for our meditation today, we're going to be doing a beautiful chant, a meditation chant. And so I invite you to settle in and take a breath. We're going to do the chant that says, there is just one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is my life right now. And so I invite you to listen or to sing or to chant along with our own beloved Brian Harris.
There is just one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Right now. There is just one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Right now. There is just one mind. and so it is. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our featured vocalist today. You've seen her the last several weeks singing background with us. Please welcome the amazing Elizabeth Harper.
If we can learn what it means to really love ourselves, then we can learn to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And we can live in harmony, see ourselves as a family. This is my prayer for humanity. That we respect our women and protect our girls, that they feel safe in every corner of the world, that we can live in harmony, see ourselves as a family. This is my prayer for humanity. That every man will be a father to someone by loving every boy as if he were his only son. That we can live in harmony, see ourselves as a family. This is my prayer. This is my prayer for humanity.
Thank you, Shelley, for your invocation, and Brian for the powerful meditation. Elizabeth, thank you for that song, Prayer for Humanity. I know my heart is open. Thank you for sharing your beautiful voice. Reverend Shannon has a well-deserved day off today, and she sends her love. We're continuing with our theme for the month of July of compassion in action. And so we are looking at all the ways that we can bring compassion to ourselves, to our families, to our communities, and to the world. We want to have the intention to actively walk our faith and actively participate by doing our part, practicing the spiritual principles to create a world that works for everyone. And so in our first week, Reverend Shannon shared about a compassionate heart. Compassion means to endure something for another person. She said that we can choose to build walls or choose to lay down blankets. She told us that wonderful story about the blankets. I will never forget that. That was awesome. She says we are always at choice. We can lay down blankets to surrender, to forgive, to accept, and to let love in. True compassion requires us to be awake to the suffering of others. And then last week, she shared about a compassionate family of choice. Family means different things to different people. And there are many kinds of families. There's a family of origin, there's a family of humanity, and there's a family of choice. And as adults, we have an incredible gift to choose our family. We get to choose the people we want in our lives and to bring them into our hearts. It gives much more depth and compassion and heart-centered meaning to our family relationships. Today's topic is a compassionate community. So we've been empowered and learned about our compassionate heart. We are inspired about our chosen compassionate family. And now we're ready for compassionate community. Are you ready to share your heart? Me too. Except that, have you ever noticed that the moment you decide that you're going to do something new and powerful and uplifting, that everything unlike that shows up to be healed? Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me. You know how you start the day with your heart wide open and you're willing to be the presence of love, right? And then stuff happens. You find out your coworkers forgot to invite you to a Zoom meeting where everyone was making important decisions about the company. Or maybe your brother calls and says that he never made it for his turn to take care of your parents, and that means you have to rush over there once again. Or your spouse complains about the meal you spent all afternoon preparing. Have any of those things ever happened? Or maybe something like that. We're ready to be open, and then this community that we wanted to be compassionate and loving pushed our buttons and poked holes in our open wounds. It's not fun, is it? What they did was they tapped into a belief in unworthiness. This is where we secretly feel less than. We feel invisible. We feel unappreciated. Usually this belief is something that was formulated many years ago as a child, that we made this decision that I'm not enough, or I'm unworthy, or I'm undeserving. And we do our best to ignore it, to hide it. We try to avoid places that activate those feelings. And we learn to live with the unworthiness. We just tolerate it. I heard the story of a woman who sat with her dying mother. And her mother was in a coma for many hours. And suddenly, she came out of her coma and she looked straight at her daughter and she said, "You know, all my life, I thought something was wrong with me." That was it. She closed her eyes, and a short time later, she passed away. The daughter said it was the greatest gift she could have been given. She became aware of how deep and insidious our unworthiness is, and how often we are at war with ourselves. Tara Brach has a name for this. She calls it the Trance of Unworthiness. That she says we are in an unconscious state, disconnected from the whole of reality. It's easy to feel walled off and separate from those around you. And so what happens is sometimes we're so deep in this trance that when we are poked, provoked, and pushed, we just bury the feelings and we bury the hurt. But when we do that, we close off our compassionate heart. Tara says we suffer from a type of homesickness. We feel a dis-ease when we are not at peace with ourselves. And you know, children don't have this. It's a learned thing. Children still have that aura of aliveness, of awareness of their sense of self. There were children in an art class at a Waldorf school. There were 4 at a table, and the teacher noticed this little girl was really engaged in her drawing. And she asked her, what are you making? And the little girl said, I'm drawing a picture of God. And the teacher chuckled and she said, oh, honey, nobody knows what God looks like. And the little girl never looked up. She never skipped a beat. She said, well, they will when I'm finished. As adults, we forget who we are. We lose confidence in our own beingness. So how do we get back to that confidence, to have a compassionate heart and to live in love? How do we stay present with the community members and not fall into our own pain and suffering from the past? Author Brené Brown says we can choose to live a wholehearted life. She says wholehearted living is about engaging in our lives from a place of worthiness. It means cultivating the courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done today, and no matter how much is left undone today, I am enough. Isn't that great? So no matter how much gets done, or no matter how much is not done, I'm okay. I am enough. She says wholehearted living is not a one-time choice, but it's a process. It's our lifetime journey. And she says practicing courage, compassion, and connection in our daily lives is how we cultivate worthiness. We have the courage to do our own work. And what she says about courage is that ordinary courage is about putting our vulnerability on the line. In today's world, that's pretty extraordinary. It takes courage to embark on this spiritual journey, doesn't it? Courage to do your own work, to face fears, to take responsibility, to give up blame. I remember when I attended my first class at a Science of Mind church. It was a light bulb moment. I learned that no one was the cause of my happiness. And no one was the cause of my pain either. That it was my responsibility. I was responsible for how I was feeling. It changed my life. It takes courage to change, to be willing to see things differently. Nelson Mandela says, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And so about compassion, Brené says we need to engage in courage, compassion, and connection. So compassion, she says, compassion is generally not our first response to suffering. Our response to pain is to self-protect. We protect ourselves by looking for someone or something to blame. Or we shield ourselves by turning to judgment or immediately going into fix-it mode. I've gone into fix-it mode, have you? It's a pretty easy habit to do. But when we do that, we've skipped over the pain. We've skipped over the problem to try to fix it, to make it better. But we have to go through it to get to the other side. She says, when we feel compassion for ourselves, it's easier to feel compassion for others. So courage to do our work, to look at what's not working. And as we do, then we have compassion. And as we have compassion, then we make connection. When we make a connection, we look at the world with more understanding. We have compassion for ourselves and for others, and we're open to connecting. I found a really great example of compassionate community. I am going to share a post written by my white friend, Linda. She is a realtor and posted this on Facebook. And I asked for her permission to share what she wrote. And here's what she said. Yesterday, I met Otis. I went to remove my staging items from a sold house. My sign was not on the post. I saw it down the road in the street, so I ran down to retrieve it. It had been pulled off the post so that the holes to reattach were ripped open. I was looking in my trunk to see if I had a replacement sign, and a black guy was walking toward me. He was carrying groceries and a big package of toilet paper. I said, "Hi," and he said, "Hi." And I said, "Somebody broke my sign." And he said, "I did. It was me." We both looked at each other, and I said, "It was you?" And he said, "Yes. I was mad. I was really mad at the whole world." And then he said, "I'm sorry." And he walked away. I continued to mess with the sign situation and was thinking about the whole thing when he walked back to me and he put the toilet paper near me and said again, "I'm sorry," and started to walk away. I told him I wouldn't take it and that I was going to leave it there and it wasn't necessary and that he needed to take it back. He came back a bit later and he was crying. I told him I had been thinking about him and that I was glad he came back. I told him that he had a lot to be mad about and that it was okay. He was still crying and again said, "I'm sorry." I asked his name, Otis. He said, "What's your name?" "Linda." He smiled. I told him I was so glad to meet him and that it really was okay. He walked away, still with tears in his eyes. I was wishing I could talk with him more. There are a lot of ways that experience could have gone. There could have been arguing, anger, rage, resentment. Instead, there was courage, compassion, connection, love, and acceptance. I was so grateful that Linda chose to share her experience. In essence, what she said was, "I hear you, I see you, I accept you, I acknowledge your feelings and your pain, and your life matters." That is living a compassionate community. Brené Brown says, the wholehearted journey is not the path of least resistance. It is a path of consciousness and choice. The willingness to tell our stories, to feel the pain of others, and stay genuinely connected in this disconnected world is not something we can do half-heartedly. To practice courage, compassion, and connection is to look at the people around us and say, I'm all in. She says, the heart of compassion is really acceptance. We are living in an amazing time of change and transformation. It's also a really scary time of uncertainty and fear. But you do not have to face this alone. We have an amazing spiritual community. And within that community, there is a team of 25 professional practitioners who would love to stand and know the highest and greatest truth for you. You can connect with them on Sunday after the chat. You can go to the website and put in a prayer request. You can call our center and get a call back from a practitioner. You do not have to do this work alone. Their greatest desire is to know the greatest truth for you. You can confidentially share your deepest fear or your greatest desire. They are here to be of service and to pray for you. It's a powerful gift to give to yourself. As we uncover our hidden blocks, we find compassion for ourselves. And when we have compassion for ourselves, we more easily see it in community. Compassion changes our perception of what we see out in the world. We need to see a change in the world, and we need to see love. And love in compassion is what we see. And so let's take this time to pray. Knowing that there is but one divine and sacred life, I am so very grateful to know that this life is love. And love moves through each one of us as courage, compassion, and connection. Love lifts us up so that we can be the presence of acceptance and harmony for all we come into community with. I know our community is blessed, and the love we feel expresses as compassion for all that we meet. I know that the peace of God radiates through me and through each one of us, and each one of us is used as an instrument of love in this world. I'm so grateful for this knowingness, for this blessing, for this and for so much more. I give grateful thanks, and so it is. Thank you so much. We'll be back in just a bit.
Thank you so much, Rev Christine. What a blessing you are in our community. Thank you so much. In a minute, we're going to hear again from Elizabeth Harper, but until then, it is time for our conscious giving right now. We are so grateful that you chose this time to be with us. Please pay it forward so that we can continue our live stream. You can give by mail, your bank, or you can text to give the number 503-966-3236. However you choose to give, we are truly grateful. So now take this giving intention into your heart and join me in this blessing. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Welcome back, Elizabeth Harper.
Maybe we can find a place to feel good, and we can treat people with kindness. Find a place to feel good. I've got a good feeling. I'm just taking it all in, floating up and dreaming, dropping into the deep end. And if we look long enough, they'll sing a song for us, and we'll belong. Maybe we can find a place to feel good, and we can treat people with kindness. Find a place to feel good, giving second chances. I don't need all the answers. Feeling good in my skin, I just keep on dancing. And if we look long enough, we'll see it's all for us, and we'll belong. Maybe we can find a place to feel good, and we can treat people with kindness. Find a place to feel good, and it's just another day. And it's just another day. And if our friends all walk away, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Here we go now. Maybe we can find a place to feel good, and we can treat people with kindness. Find a place to feel good. All we ever want is automatic all the time. All we ever want is automatic all the time. All we ever want is automatic all the time. All we ever want is automatic all the time. Maybe we can find a place to feel good, and we can treat people with kindness to feel good.
Wow, Elizabeth, I love that song. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful voice with us today. Thank you to practitioner Shelley and Rev Barb, Brian Harris and the band. I'm so grateful for everyone who comes together with such love to make this video possible. Please join us for our chat after the service. You can find the link on our website. Practitioners are available after the chat. Just stay on the call and you will be placed in a confidential room to meet with a practitioner. Thank you again for joining us. Many blessings to you on this Sunday. Let's say together our final blessing. May you go in the light and as the light and with the light until we meet again. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way.